Alright guys, welcome back to another Yoni video, and today we are testing if this 2003 Mercedes E500 is still a beast in 2025.
The way we're going to be doing this is by using a very carefully constructed 10-point checklist that will tell us exactly if this car is still a beast. The checklist consists of 1. Raw acceleration, 2. Low-end torque, 3. Highway power, 4. Handling, 5. Sound, 6. Comfort, 7. Road presence, 8. Modern comparison, 9. Daily usability, and 10. Cost to beast ratio.
But first, let's get into the specs. It has 306 horsepower and 460 Newton meters of torque. It's a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8. These numbers might not be so impressive nowadays, but for a 22-year-old car, almost 23-year-old car, that is pretty impressive. It is rear-wheel drive, open differential, airmatic. That's all you gotta know. Alright, so for the first test, what we're gonna be testing is raw acceleration, raw speed. Does this boat still have speed? Does it feel fast? 0 to 100 times? Well, let's get into it. Alright, so as you can see, for a really old car, it isn't that slow. I think the 0 to 100, it had some traction issue in the beginning, and my car also isn't perfectly running right now. It was at around 6.5 seconds, which I think is pretty good. I think in optimal conditions you can get it down to around 6 seconds, which again, 23-year-old car, I think is really good. But now, for test number 2 is where we're really getting into it. Torque. That's gonna be a whole other story. All right, now we're really getting into it. For test number 2, torque. This thing has 470 Newton meters of torque, and I think this is where it really shines. This 5-liter V8, it really pushes it down. At like 2,500 RPMs, it shoves you into your seat, I think pretty crazily for a 23-year-old car. So now we're gonna drive around a bit and see how it feels. As you can see, it still really pushes. The transmission is really slow on the other hand, but it doesn't have anything to do with the torque. So yeah, enjoy these clips, and you can let me know in the comments if you think the torque on this beast is still worthy of being called a beast. Alright, as you can see, for test 2, I think it definitely passed it. The torque is insane. You can hear it by the sound. You can feel the whole car moving back. You're getting pushed back into your seat. So yeah, now let's get on to test 3. Now, for test number 3, we're going to be talking about highway power. We're going to see if this car is still worthy of being called a beast on the highway, and if it has enough power to overtake and do whatever you need to do on the highway. As you clearly see, and some of you already may know, this is really where it shines. This naturally aspirated V8. These modern cars aren't like nothing. They're nothing compared to this. These 4 cylinders, these 2 cylinders, the pulls from 100 to 200 in this is just absolutely crazy, especially for its age. If you're looking for a highway cruiser, this is one of the best things for the money you can get. As you can see, it has plenty of power on the highway. That's actually where it shines. It pulls insanely fast for especially a 23-year-old car. And again, I think it fully smashed this test as well. Let's get on to the next one. All right, for test number 4, we're gonna check the handling. Obviously, this is a very long, big car, very heavy car, air suspension, so it doesn't have the greatest of handling. It does have the adaptive suspension thing, so you can make it stiffer. But yeah, at the end of the day, it really isn't the best handling thing, but I also don't think it's the worst. So we're gonna put it to the test. All right, as you can see, you got these 2 buttons that make the suspension stiffer. That does make handling better in general, but obviously it doesn't do miracles. But I would say it is a significant difference because you feel every bump way more. The car doesn't roll as much because, you know, it's a big car, air suspension. It does, you know, roll like a cloud in a way. So I will say that does make quite of a difference. I don't know if I'm even able to show you on camera, but if I have the suspension like this, I don't even know how to explain it, but it just kind of moves. It doesn't really wave. So yeah, this definitely does affect that there is less waviness and less rolliness, because now if I turn this off, so now that I turn this off, okay, well, we're at a dead end here, it does. Yes, we are in the garage because I didn't know what better place to do it. Now, I'm not sure if you can see in the camera. We're going to try to film the front, but now it sort of bounces in a way. Because now that the suspension is softer, look, you can see it literally. Here I can show again. You can see it move like a boat, literally like a boat. But then if I make it stiffer again, it does less of it. So yeah, I will say the handling isn't the best, but for such a heavy car, it handles very comfortably. I mean, with not the best, I mean, it's not a sporty. So if you're looking for a very sporty handling like some 3 Series, you're not gonna find it. But if you're looking for a comfortable car that can still handle modern traffic quite well, I think this is perfect. All right, for test number 5, we're gonna be talking about sound. Is this car still loud? Yes, it is a V8, it is old, but let's see if it passes the test. Alright, well, I definitely think it passed the sound test, because as you can hear, this is only with a muffler delete, and there's an X-pipe coming soon for the middle resonators, which is going to make it even louder. So I think when it comes to sound, this is 10 out of 10 beast scale. For test number 6, we're going to be talking about comfort, and this is where I think it outshines everyone. You're not ready, because this isn't like your A4 or your X3, this is something else. When you are sitting in this car, comfort is everything. First of all, it starts off with the nice heavy doors. This is not no flimsy 2-liter Renault. Second of all, airmatic. As you can see, we can raise it, we can lower it. We also have the adaptive suspension. You can make it more comfortable, more sporty. Again, more comfortable. The steering, it moves electrically. You got seat heating. and seat cooling, just I don't have the option. I can electrically move the back headrests down. Not only that, I can move my seat electrically, and I have memory seats, so I can set 4 different types of seats, or 3, however which one I want it to be like. There is real leather, none of that fake shit, and this is wrapped all around the car elegantly, just like the nice wood you see on the dashboard, the wood on the steering wheel. It comes back everywhere. Also, there is a sunroof that does open. When it comes to space in the back, I have my seat pushed all the way back and I still have plenty of space to sit down. Plus, it feels a whole lot more comfortable than any other modern car I've been in. Now here, some ASMR. So when it comes to comfort, I think this car definitely passes the test and even surpasses it by far. It is a whole lot more comfortable than any modern cheap car. All right, for test number 7, we're gonna be testing road presence. Does this car still shine in the road? Does it look like you're on business? Does it look like you mean shit? Well, let's put it to the test.
Что интересно? Как думаешь, он любит меня? Не знаю, любит ли, но смотрит влюбленно.
All right, you can let me know what you guys think, but I definitely think it passed the road presence test. Because for a 23-year-old car, I think this looks sick. And I know I'm biased because it is my car, but I'm not even gonna care. I think it looks amazing. I think it looks phenomenal. I think it's peak Mercedes, and I don't really care what anyone else would say. So yes, 10 out of 10. For test number 8, modern comparison. How does it compare to 2025 cars, newer cars? Looks-wise, comfort-wise, drive-wise. I think when it comes to the rear, it actually does look quite modern. I don't think you would think this is a 2003 car. The side, if you get some new wheels, I think it can also look quite new. If you get the windows tinted, but let's think about stock, I do think this still looks quite modern. On the other hand, if we move to the front, it does look a whole lot more aged here in my opinion. The headlights look way older than modern cars, the grille looks older, the bumper, but for a 23-year-old car, I could see this pass as a 15-year-old car. When it comes to the interior, it's a 50-50 in my opinion. When you look at the door, I think this looks quite modern in my opinion. But then the entertainment system obviously looks very outdated. Yes, this is easily interchangeable, so it's not a big problem, but if you like the big fancy screens, this might not be it for you. The steering wheel as well, it looks quite outdated. Mine is a bit fucked, but in general it does look quite outdated. On the other hand, you do have all the options that a new car has. You have the memory seats, electric moving steering wheel, you got a panoramic roof, you got seat warmers, seat coolers, and the list goes on. So in that aspect, I do think it does compare to modern cars. I think though, when it comes to driving experience, it is quite modern. I did use the key right now, but we also have an engine start and stop button. Even though it is an older car, it does have a lot of tech that a lot of newer cars don't have, like air suspensions, the fact that I can make my suspension stiffer, warming seats, the list goes on. When it comes to the size of the car, that actually also plays a very big factor. This basically just makes it way more comfortable. It does make it less sporty, but when you go around corners, etc., it's like you're gliding into it. It doesn't feel so forced, it doesn't feel so stiff and sporty. Which again, a lot of new cars do not have. Some people might wonder if this car is slow, but from my opinion, it is very far from that. I've driven a lot of modern cars and they have not come close to the speed and torque especially I have in this car. So if you're worried about not being able to keep up with traffic, you're gonna keep up more than the average traffic. As you can see, that was in winter mode. I wasn't in the right gear even, and still I easily passed that person. If I put it in a lower gear, meaning I would have had higher RPM, I would have flown past him. Another thing is, it has sport mode and winter mode, which again, a lot of new cars, they might have it, but does it make a difference? Not really. Here, it actually does make quite a difference because in winter mode, it shifts later, it drives more calmly, slowly, it starts in second gear, it reverses in second gear, because yes, it does have 2 gears in reverse, and in sport mode, it starts in first gear, and obviously it shifts later. Alright, that was it for the modern test. Let me know what you think. I think it was a 50-50. In a lot of ways, it really surpasses a lot of modern cars, but in a lot of ways, it also lacks. Now, for test number 9, daily usability. Are you able to daily drive this car? When it comes to gas prices, I would not give it a win. It is quite expensive, in my opinion. It can go up to like 32 liters, 100 kilometers, but if you're using it on the highway for longer trips, I think it is definitely good because it will go down to like 10 liters, 100 kilometers, which in my opinion isn't so bad. When it comes to space, you got more than enough. You got a massive trunk that basically could fit almost anything. Plus, in the back, you got plenty of space. Even if you got kids, there's plenty of space for them to fit in the back. Front, also plenty of space, comfortable. I would give it a very positive note on that. Yes, it is a big car, but in my opinion, parking with this is still quite easy. I have driven vans for a long time, but still, I think compared to a lot of cars, it's not much different to park. We already talked about comfort, but when it comes to being inside the car and daily drivability, I think if you install a different interface or you make sure you can connect your phone a bit better than a FM transmitter, this is perfect for a daily. You got a nice sound system that is better than a lot of modern cars, comfortable seats, you can name it. For test number 9, I think regarding gas, depends. If you live in a city, yes, it's gonna get expensive, but it is a comfortable car, it has a lot of space, parking isn't so hard in my opinion if you can drive, so I think it passed the test. Now, for test number 10, the last test, if this is truly a beast, is cost to beast ratio. Is this car really worth the price? Well, let's get into it. You can buy one for probably, depending on where you live, between 5,000 to 10,000 euros, which I think for this car is nothing. But, there is a but. Yes, this one is a pre-facelift, so it's M113 engine, 5-liter naturally aspirated V8, one of the most reliable Mercedes V8s ever made. But it's still a Mercedes. Your M-Matic could fail, which could easily cost hundreds of euros, maybe even thousands if everything fails. You have a brake system that at some point is going to fail. I think it's called SBC brake system, that it could also cost quite a penny to fix. And just things in general, your general maintenance is going to cost more than a regular car because, for example, it has 16 spark plugs. Each spark plug also costs more than a regular spark plug, etc. The list goes on. But if you find a well-maintained one, mine actually hasn't been well-maintained, but I'm surviving. But if you find a well-maintained one and you just do your regular maintenance, your oil change, your fluid changes, your tires, everything, you will not have a financial disaster. Now, when it comes to fuel, yes, it is quite some money, but you are buying a V8. So at the end of the day, you cannot complain. When it comes to all the dates, you gotta bring all these bitches because you're driving a W211 V8. Yeah, that's where it gets really expensive. But yeah, in general, I would say for, let's say 7K euros, you can get a very nice luxury sedan that used to be around 100K, that if it's been well maintained and you do your maintenance, it will last you a lifetime. This is not gonna die like your Fiat Multipla that will die at 150,000 kilometers. This thing can make 1 million if you take care of it. So at last, I do believe it does pass the cost to beast ratio test. Let me know in the comments what you think. Alright, for the end of this video, I think it's only fair to rate every single one to see if this is still truly a beast. For number 1, raw acceleration, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. For low-end torque, I'm gonna give it a 8.5 out of 10. For highway power, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. For handling, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. For sound, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. For comfort, 10 out of 10. Road presence, 9 out of 10. Modern comparison, 6 out of 10. Daily usability, 6.5 out of 10. And cost to beast ratio, 11 out of 10. So if my math is mathing, that should be around 8.15 out of 10 in general, which will round it down to an 8, which I think is a very fair evaluation for a car of this price and what you get for it. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below what kind of video you want to see next, and don't forget to follow the socials. Peace.